Well, President Donald Trump was elected, and he's coming down really strong on immigration laws. Now, kind of a two-part thing here because now a lot of countries that normally hire foreign workers are now not hiring as much or putting a halt on it because they want to allow their own, UAE, for example, and other countries, Singapore, another one, are now concentrating on the workforce being from local citizens, and they're even putting a halt on that. There's a lot of Filipinos that are really concerned now about various issues, and rightfully so, because the immigration laws are changing constantly good morning, since Trump is in office. And some may say it's a great thing, getting rid of the illegal immigrants in America and so forth. It's understandable. What is happening is it really comes down, for example, if you're a foreigner and you're dating a Filipina out here, and you have legal impediments going on with you. It's twofold here, really. You have legal impediments going on with you, but you're too dumb to realize that if I did marry my Filipina, there's no guarantee I'm going to get her if I have to be deported to United States, home country, perhaps you come from, that you can get your Filipina over there, even though you might actually be married, of all things, being married to your Filipina. First of all, if you have legal impediments, you're not going to get a 13A, and that's for sure. That's not going to work. But again, it's also, what are the pretenses of getting your Filipina to your country of origin, let's say United States? They're now under more scrutiny. It might be hard for the Filipina to be able to get citizenship and a green card to work, because now they are questioning just about everything now. So, where it wasn't a topic of concern for any Filipino marrying a foreigner, now things are starting to turn around, because what's happening is, because of Trump's big quest to act strongly on immigration, illegal immigration, now other issues are being raised, and now Filipinos are concerned, Filipinos in general, they are concerned. Will I be able to stay in the country? I mean, I married this person here in the Philippines, and he's from the United States. What, if anything, going to be good for me, the Filipina will now say to herself. Now, especially if you have legal impediments, well, what's the use? Because you're not going to get a 13A to help you out. That's totally out of the question. It's not going to happen. So what's the purpose of getting married to somebody if you manage to get married to somebody here in the Philippines under certain circumstances? It might be yeehaw, hip, whoopity whoop, hooray. She is my wife. She is my legal partner now, my wife. Well, that all sounds good on paper if you can achieve that. But unfortunately, oh, is that right, Master? They're not doing any interviews at the embassy right now. Trump plans on cutting staff by 10%. As you can see, there's a cataclysmic effect going on here now for those hopefuls that, they meet a local Filipina. You're basically on a tourist visa if you have one at all. That's another thing. If you have one at all, that's legal and current. And, I love her so much, and I want to marry her. Well, a lot of people with legal impediments are thinking that marrying a local Filipino, and pardon the dogs, are thinking that that's going to be my savior. If I get married to her, then maybe the immigration status of myself, where you're having legal issues, is going to be remedied. that you're going to be able to stay in the country, to be with your Filipina, but that's not true, not even remotely true, especially now. 13A, out of the question. That is just not going to happen. AJE, okay, and now you're talking about Barry. I was talking in general here, but I'll read what you had to say. If Barry really legally married his girlfriend, his potential visa application for a year will be delayed for years. The proper procedure would have been to apply for a fiancé visa first. I would agree with that. Get back to your home country and do it that way. But understand something, it's very important. When you have legal impediments on you, that makes it even, 100% harder to achieve a certain goal. For example, gee, I'm going to be deported back to the United States. But, I want this woman to be with me in the United States. Well, that's becoming even more difficult now. And I did a lot of reading on this morning. That's why you saw that short video that I put on just prior to this live. And that's under AJ says that's under normal circumstances. Now forget about that. Master Puppet says he don't make enough money to get her to the U.S. I think the minimum is $26,000. They don't want them over there in welfare. Well, that's another thing too, which we didn't touch upon. What you're saying is very true. The person you're talking about in particular, doesn't meet any of these qualifications at all. So let's say that he did, and since you mentioned his name, I don't believe he did, but let's say he was able to marry, whether he did it now or did it later on, or, it's not going to make any difference as far as being advantageous for him to do so. Like I've always said, I think it just puts the Filipina in jeopardy because there's no divorce out here. And who's to tell what happens once the guy you're talking about, Barry, gets deported or goes to prison, whatever happens to him, gets deported back to the United States. First of all, is he going to be faithful? Is he going to care anymore? Or once he sees that even if he married a Filipina out here, and he goes to the United States and then finds out, that he can't get her over there for lots of reasons, he created damage to his loved Filipina. And again, no divorce in this country, and it puts her in jeopardy. And now, and I understand this guy I was listening to, and what he was talking about was very real. I remember working for, they try to get people in the country with false intent. When I was working, there was this guy, I even remember his name, Louis DeFrancesco. And he was a part worker, but he was Filipino. And he was trying to say, hey, I know somebody from the Philippines that wants to become a U.S. citizen. They'll pay you 20,000 American dollars. Yeah, he approached me with that. I said, no, I'm not getting involved with that. I know a guy that did that with a Chinese woman, and boy, was that a disaster. Because the woman had to live with him for, 2 years or something? So he had to board her. He had to financially support her for 2 years. I don't know how things have changed then. This happened this was in Hawaii, and a guy had married a Chinese woman, is what happened. And it was fully for the intent where, he was going to be reimbursed X amount of money, which he never got, but he was stuck being married to her. Okay, he got stuck being married to her. And under some obligation of law or whatever, he had to support her. And where he was supposed to receive money for doing this, they never came up with the money. So you got to watch what you're doing, and it has to be a moment of clarity and ask yourself why you're doing this. I mean, in general, relationships don't work out when there's too many legal impediments going on. That's the word I use, is impediments, because that's what they are. And When there's too much complications in a relationship, it generally doesn't work. You know, especially if you've got a wandering eye. You know, if you got a wandering eye, and you're looking, you're always looking around for some tasty desserts that may be a better tasting dessert than the woman you have. You can't trust somebody like that. Somebody gets hurt no matter what. That's what happens all the time. False intent to marry, not based on love. Either both partners or one partner where there really isn't love, and you're using marriage or wanting to get married based on a intent to find yourself in a better position with any legal impediment that you might have right now. And it doesn't work. Now, Trump, love him or hate him, is trying to prove himself, and he's going gung ho. And Filipinos all over the world are getting concerned. A lot of overseas workers that have been doing this for years are now concerned about their jobs because now countries like UAE and Brunei and all these countries, even Singapore and so forth, other Asian countries are saying, I don't know about this anymore. We want to give the workforce to our local workers and natural born citizens. They're now starting to turn an eye on overseas workers. They love Filipino workers, though. They absolutely do. In the healthcare industry, they're the most nurturing people, and people love to hire them. But unfortunately, there's a lot of foreign governments now. Italy is one of them, and there's a number. I just read an article on that. A number of places, UAE, even Australia, which loves Filipinos to come there and work, are now starting to turn a blind eye on this. The immigration laws are changing. And now, like in Japan, too, they are now trying to concentrate on their workforce with locals. They're trying to encourage people to, well, they did in the past. They want them to get married, have children, and build up. Because what Japan has right now is they have an aging workforce, and they're very concerned about the future economy. And there was a time when Japan was actually offering cash benefits for couples to get married, have children, and stay in the country and work in the country. But a lot of Japanese have a very progressive, and a lot of them don't want to get married. They don't want to get married. And what's happening is in some of these countries, you have an aging workforce. Well, excuse me, you have an aging population, and it's becoming a major concern for future workforce. And this is happening well, it's not just happening right now, it's been happening for quite a while. Even China had limited how many kids that somebody could have. And maybe they're over that now, but there was a time when they were limiting because the population was so greatly increased. But unfortunately, people are coming of age, and you're getting an older population of people in a lot of these countries, which means that there's not enough people in the workforce to. That's why they hire overseas workers. But now, with all these immigration concerns and everything, they're starting to turn their head a little bit on accepting any more foreign workers in the country. So it's a big mess, is what it is. Let's see. I'm sorry I didn't read the comments here. Uh, let's see. I'm just reading your comments. That's all. We're not concentrating on one person. We're talking in general here. But AJEG says, and that's under normal circumstances. Now forget about it. Master Puppet says, I guess you're referring to Barry. He don't make enough money to get her to the United States. I think the minimum is $26,000. They don't want them over there on welfare. Yeah, that's true. We discussed that. Master Puppet says, you have to sign an affidavit of support for 10 years. Even if you divorce them, if they get any help from the government, you have to pay them back. Yeah, I think there's some truth in what you're saying on that. I heard something on that. I don't know if it was exact, but somewhat in that avenue. Mm. So, it's better to do everything legally and know what the hell you're doing before you jump into something That's both the foreigner and the Filipinos concerned. And yes, a lot of Filipinos, they want to immigrate to the United States, but now, since immigration is becoming such a huge issue with Trump in office, and I'm not saying that Trump is doing something bad. I don't like the guy, but I'm not saying he's doing anything bad to get rid of the illegal aliens in the country. But you got to understand, there's a lot of aliens in the United States that are there because of marriage, to get over there, to get into the United States. So they can get their citizenship, they can get their green card. And usually what happens after a while, and I can't say it happens in every relationship, but it does happen. They get what they want. They get their green card, they get all that shit, and then they dump the guy. No, that never happens, right? That happens all the time. That crazy love of mine. Yeah. So there's a lot of legalities going on here, and regarding, the love you have for your Filipino, what your plans are for the future. Now, for example, you're talking about Barry. I'm talking in general, but in his case, the way I see it is that, no matter what happens, he's going to be deported. I mean, there's no question about that. So is it advantageous for him to marry his girlfriend? First of all, I don't believe they're married, but let's just say that he decides to get married and they actually have a marriage ceremony and he actually gets married. In his mind, he thinks it's advantageous for him because he thinks it's going to create his stay in the Philippines where he doesn't have to leave it, so he could be around her. Even if he has to be imprisoned, he'll be around her, because who else is going to help him except his boyfriend there, Brevis. Who else is going to help him out? Nobody's going to help him out. Brevis comes by with a few vegetables here and there and comes up with a baseball bat, of all things. What a fucking maroon this guy is. But let's not concentrate. Let's talk in general. In general, if you got, first of all, a long overstay, 7 fucking years, as an example. Let's use that as an example. And you've been incarcerated because of that. And then on top of that, you got a legal case on you for something else. No matter what it is. What chances does a person like that think they have to find remedy? Let's see. Stefan says that there's a very large Filipino population where I am in the United States, and it's known that someone here can get paid $10,000 to get married to a Filipino so she can get the green. Yeah, well, I told you I was offered that when I was working for Parks one time, and I told you this guy Louis, who's a Filipino guy, has all his relatives in the Philippines. Yeah, he says, only it was 20,000. It wasn't 10. You can make 20,000 if you marry this Filipino and you get her over here. He's just straight out with it. I said, no. I said, I'm not marrying anybody. Financial responsibility for that stays with you for a while. Because there's a guy who married this Chinese woman I was telling you about. She had to legally stay with him. And she turned out to be a real, well, I'll say right out front, she turned out to be a bitch. But he had to keep her in the same apartment, and they couldn't stand each other. They'd get into verbal fights, but he had an obligation where she had every right to stay with him, and he had a financial responsibility, no matter what, to take care of her and feed her and house her. And that was like the biggest mistake he ever made. They hated each other. I mean, it got to the point where they almost got physical. And he got stuck in a situation. But to make it worse, he never received payment for it. That made it even worse. Oh, excuse me, she came up with some money, but that was it. It was a fraction of what they actually agreed on. Yeah. Oh, AJG's. Oh, did she have PTSD as well? Oh, that's too funny. It really, when you think about all this, it really is fucking funny. Hey, man, shit. I can say I have PTSD. I got into some car accidents that could have killed me. Shit, I got hit by a car when I was 7. I lost my parents. I lost my brother. I lost my best friend of 65 years. Lost my dogs in the past. Well, maybe I got PTSD. Who knows? Maybe that's what my disability is when I had my disability. Maybe I had PTSD. But if I did, it would have been for, acceptable reasons. Maybe I do have PTSD and I've never been diagnosed, or maybe I have been diagnosed, and that's maybe why I got a disability. You never know. You just never know. But, just claiming you got PTSD, I mean, look, I understand you go to war, you see action, you see friends getting killed. Man, I could understand PTSD on that, brother. I could totally understand it. That's traumatic shit. Traumatic shit, but somebody saying on a YouTube show, oh, he's threatening me. He called me this and he called me that. Oh, I'm suffering. Oh, I got such depression. I got to see a counselor. Oh. But she's out dancing and singing and going on like every day with her friends and visiting and shopping. And, oh, yeah, she got PTSD up my fucking lily white ass. That ain't no PTSD or depression or living in fear. If you're living in fear, you don't leave the door. If you're living in fear, you're not going to go out and socialize. If you're living in fear, you get a fucking bodyguard. It's the biggest bullshit I've heard in such a long time. And that's why I've been actually talking about this lately, because it's all fucking bullshit. And of course, you all know the circumstances here, what's going on with that. Right? Yeah, destroy somebody's life or try to, because you want to support your wonderful, caring, honest, and faithful boyfriend. Yeah, right. Yeah, and fucking cows have developed wings and now they can fly. They can fly. The cows across my road here, they can fly. And so can their goats. This is like an opportunistic thing, what it is. It's revenge is what it is. It's just total fucking revenge. And I'm supposed to go easy on him. Yeah, right. I'll do that today. I'll go easy on him today. I'll call up and I'll say, I'm going to cancel the court hearings. I'm going to cancel this. Because he did me an extra favor of getting his girlfriend, coercing her to put a complaint on me. Oh, I'm going to be so nice to him. I think I'll just cancel the case and maybe even send him flowers or maybe some brisket. Give it a fucking rest, man. Give me a fucking break. Oh, fucking bullshit. Now that you mentioned that, he had to put his name into this thing. W2F says, it is a shame when somebody makes a false claim about PTSD when someone who does have it, it's a horrible thing. It's a mockery. I agree with you completely. AJG says maybe she has anxiety from hiding her true relationship with Barry from her father. I don't know. He doesn't even know about it. Half the family don't even know he's in jail. And he admitted that the family thinks that he's in America working. Well, that's a way to start a relationship off or a marriage, right? With lies to the family, right? Stefan says, well, when her partner lies so much, it probably starts rubbing off on her. Well, I would not be surprised. Nothing would surprise me. But you guys are making some really good points on here. And thank you for that. I appreciate the dialogue. Yeah, it's true. Everything you're saying in here is true. But, sometimes your plans just don't work out the way they want. And then you wind up leaving the Filipina in a really precarious situation where she's now married, but, she's thinking, well, okay, what did I do this for? Am I going to marry this guy? And if I did marry him, why did I do it? What is the future benefit for me? Is he going to be able to get me into the United States? Probably not. He can't afford it. He can't afford to support her. He ain't going to go to work. He don't want to work. He already said that when he gets to America, he's going to go on welfare. He said he's going to go on food stamps. He's going to get Section 8. Oh, yeah, that's a charmer. That's worth, I'd marry him for that reason. Oh, yeah. Come on, this whole thing is a farce. This whole thing is such crap and bullshit, Well, when her partner lies so much, yeah, probably so. Yeah. This whole thing is such a fucking future nightmare for him and her. But, he doesn't want to be progressive. He doesn't want to get out of a situation. He just wants to make it worse for both of them now. And I won't go into that because I don't want to. But let's just say, my personal opinion of what she's doing, yes, it's absolute revenge. By his own admittance and recording, he coerced her into doing this report. That has been sent to every agency out there. So when certain decisions are being made as a resolution on what they're trying to do to me, when it gets into the right hands and they look into this, well, he's going to have to think, well, what if their little plan did not work? What straws, while he's sinking in quicksand, is he going to have to grab? He's not going to have any straws at all. No. None. And as I said, either way, there are avenues in regards to addressing such a matter, if such a matter did happen. And I don't need to go into that any more than I ever did. Okay, Stefan says, it's a shame that he brought her into the case. Not that she's innocent, but very. Yeah, I know. I can't elaborate on, what I feel about her as far as what she's doing, because it may turn into a legal matter. I'm not happy with her, obviously. There's no harm ever coming to her. Certainly not physically. I never even met the woman. The point being is that she allowed herself. I mean, is he such a charmer that a Filipino would want to marry him, who's broke, who has a history of not paying people, who relies on women that have a job? What would be her future? That's the whole point I've been making for months and months and months and months and months. What is in it for her is the question. And that's something that's, worthwhile contemplating, thinking about. What is in it for her? Why would she go so far out of her way to accommodate this guy? I mean, I could say a few ideas about that, but I probably will regret saying anything about that. So I'll keep it to myself. I have my own ideas. But, when you break things down, you say, well, what's the advantage? He's rude. He's crude. He's selfish. He has a history behind him. Everything from going to prison for 6 months, from beating up his wife over the kid. He has taken money from so many Filipinas and Filipinos and bar owners and private deals and over computers, over this and that. Ran out on landlords. What an ideal guy to want to marry. Shit, if I was a Filipino, I'd be the first in line to want to marry him. So there has to be something to this. There has to be something that we're not seeing, or it's not talked about. Yeah. It's a shame that he brought her. Yeah, it's a shame that he did bring her into that. Because I just have the feeling that it ain't going to work out well for her. And everything I say and mention that, he says, oh, you're threatening her. Who's threatening her? Have you heard a threat from me on this thing? Or am I just talking fact? Nobody's ever threatened her. That's such bullshit when he comes in. Oh, you threatened my girlfriend. You threatened, my wife. You threatened my wife. You're not married, motherfucker. Then he says, yeah, I admit I lie a lot, but I don't always lie. Okay, I'm going to choke. I don't always lie. Fuck, he does. There's not one iota of truth that ever comes out of this fucking guy's mouth. What a perfect partner. And tell you what, once he gets into U.S. soil, okay, who do you think is going to be working if she can get a green card or anything else? She's going to be working. She's going to be taking care of him. He ain't going to go out and get a job. He's going to go on fucking welfare and he already said it a long time ago. You've all heard it. It's like, hey, I'm going to burden the taxpayers. Like he was telling all of us out here that we're, tax-paying people that actually worked in the United States in order to achieve their pension or Social Security. Okay, we paid into the system, and what he's trying to say is, fuck you all. You wait and see. When I get back, I'm going to be living off the taxpayers' money. What an idiot. I'm going to be getting welfare and food stamps. I'm going to go on Section 8 housing. Oh, shit. If I was a Filipino, I'd marry him in a New York second. In a New York fucking second. Jesus Christ, man. People outside of YouTube would never believe this. They would never. I mean, the guy is a walking, talking train wreck. But how we gravitated to him. I was talking in general, and that's why I put that short up there, and basically saying that, with Trump's administration now, he's really turning things on immigration around, and it's affecting people all over the world, and starting to make even these countries think twice about who they're bringing into their country. So there's going to be stricter laws as to who can go in the country. Because, what they're doing now, I did a small thing the other day about an immigration crackdown. Now they're really fine, with a fine-tooth comb. They're going over people's background, Are they involved in any criminal activity in the United States? Not civil. They don't give a shit about that. Criminal. Okay. Uh, did you have to file a protection order? Somebody file a protection order against you while you were actually in the United States, and a protection order is still valid, that's going to be an impediment. They're looking for every little thing now. They're cracking down. They're cracking down. It's going to be a lot harder because now they're going to be going over everybody who comes into this country. He's making it harder for a lot of people now. Trump. But hey, it is what it is. They're making it harder. They want to see if there's any matters. They got any bench warrants on them? Do they have an impending court case? Do they have, why did they flee? Sound familiar at all? Why did they flee? Why did they flee the United States? When, perhaps some gang members are after you and you did something really wrong, it's all on court record. It ain't going to look good. So, I don't know. People do things in a way where they just don't sit down and they think about what they're doing. Remember something. Knowledge is power, not money. Knowledge is power. If you got knowledge, you got more power than a millionaire does. To be able to see things and rationalize things that's going on in your life and not take things for granted. I can get away with this if I do that. Well, if I marry her, yeah. I got news for you. I'm going to marry this woman, and when I do, it's going to allow me to stay here. Well, there you go. That one guy's example. That's his reason for wanting to marry. If I do it ain't for love. It ain't for love. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. What is love? What is love, man? Demonstrate it. I dare you. Demonstrate real love. Real love is not using your partner for legal reasons. Real love is getting married under idealistic situations, not as a tool to get from point A to point B. No, siree, Barbaroni. It's not. As these people will find out. Anyway, how's everybody's morning or evening going? Hi, Popeye. Can't leave him out. Yeah, so, we're just kind of wrapping this morning about this, because I was reading this article, and boy, they are doing some crackdown Trump, you like his policies or not, you're finding out. He's going to create wars, and he's going to, instead of deflating, he's going to be inflating the economy, make it harder. You know, I went into all this spiel about how expensive food was and blah, blah, blah. And actually, a loaf of bread here is more than 85. Maybe that's my bug, but my mistake. I think it's a lot higher than that. Eggs are really high here, too. And this is over here in the Philippines. This is here in the Philippines. It's not America. In America, I mean, you're going to starve. You're going to be making a damn good salary, but you got to live somewhere, right? You got to live somewhere. You're going to have to pay rent, right? Or if we want to buy. I mean, the rent supersedes your salary. How do you live in America under those situations? So Trump is going to perform miracles, right? Oh, yeah, he's going to perform miracles. Put out of my hat, he'll say. Yeah, well, time will tell, right? And for what I've seen so far, he hasn't been in office very long. He's not doing anybody any favors. Everybody was rah-rah about getting him in, but let's see what happens. Let's see what happens in time. He's just been in office a short period of time. Yet he's got all these fucking folders already. Let me sign off on this. Let me sign off on that. Let me sign off on that. Everybody cheers him, cheers him. I've never seen, well, actually I have. He's a cocky motherfucker, but I know somebody locally here that's even more cockier than he is. And that's a fact. But, you know, if you are in America and you got to vote, see, you can't vote here, but somebody locally here, yeah, I voted for Trump on my computer. Not possible. Not, oh, I don't lie. Oh, sometimes I do, but Frank's a liar. Everything that comes out of his mouth is a lie. Where have I been lying about anything? Now, when you really think about it, where have I been lying? I'm the most outspoken MFer on here ever. And what comes out of my mouth is factual, based on what I see and hear on YouTube. How am I a liar if it can be proven this or that about a certain individual? Where am I lying? Okay, let's see. MLG says, with immigrants getting deported in the USA, he could get his dream job picking pinto beans. He don't want to work. Anthony laughs at that. MLG says he thinks he's 2 steps ahead in the legal game because he watched Shawshank Redemption. Yeah. You know, I actually got the opportunity. I mentioned that years ago. I actually visited the prison over there, and I actually did. They have, you know, tour visits. Boy, I tell you, that was interesting. That was really interesting. I had to take the ferry boat there, and it was a nice little ride across the water. And yeah, I got to see cells where Capone was at, and with their their cafeteria rooms where they all sat and have their meals and everything else. It was really interesting. Yeah, I even had a little piece of rock. I don't know what I did with it. I got a rock from there that was on the outside wall that was loose and falling off. It was a little rock, and I always had that as a souvenir. Of course, that's long gone, but yeah, it's true that the currents and everything was not advantageous. What people don't know is that if you were to look underneath that area, there's a canyon under there. It's like a mountain, and you get this really swift flows of current that pass through there. So with the new technology, they're able to actually see. It's like a sonar, but it actually maps out underneath the water. They're doing it all the time now. They could drone this, and they could actually see what's underneath. And what they discovered was that it's a big canyon in that area near the San Francisco Bridge, Golden Gate Bridge. A big canyon. That's why the current is so strong. And also the temperature of the waters, you wouldn't survive in here long. Also, it's a good trail for great whites that follow this current. So whatever happened to the guys that they say, you know, escaped, they never found their bodies or anything, they probably died, is probably what happened. But yeah, I've actually been over there on a tourist thing when I was in San Francisco. It was really interesting to see. I like a little history, stuff like that. And I could see
how even the ferry, when it's just pulling up, the waters are so choppy. And I remember going there and on a ferry, and the waters were so strong. The current was choppy. They had these guys, sailboarding on there. Shit, these guys were going like 40 miles per hour with the wind. It was amazing just to watch that alone. I wish I had some videos of that. And it took a lot of strength to be able to coordinate on that, to be able to, get your sail in the right direction and using your arm and leg strength. I mean, that was a pretty incredible sight to see. These guys were absolute athletes. But it's very dangerous there. They couldn't escape. Very hard, very hard. But just walking around there and looking at a little history, and I've seen the cells. Some of them were left just the way they were. Whatever little bunk beds or beds they had in there, the sink, the toilet, and all that, everything was like left intact. And that was what was so interesting about that. It really was. But anyway, I started off talking in general here, but then people started bringing up somebody's name. And so far, your comments were like right, hitting the nail on the head, really, on what your opinions were on this matter. It's a totally fruitless situation that's not going to yield anything at all, except more problems. And it's unfortunate it has to happen that way. And then I've seen a lot of comments on other shows, whether it's Copycat or Popeye, something, I don't know where I saw it. I should have left things alone and just let him get deported and wouldn't have to go through all this. Well, there's just two ways of looking at that, really. In other words, you're saying that, yeah, just let him get deported, but it's a way of saying that what he did doesn't matter, that there shouldn't be any justice in it for him, that you shouldn't use the justice system to set this guy straight and make a very strong statement that what you did is not acceptable to me on any level. What, just let him go off into the sunset and be able to get back into the country again to do it all over again? Look, I'm smarter than that. Give me a little credit, okay? For me, just allowing him to be deported, dropping the case, would not create a conviction on him. It's bad enough about the 7-year overstay. You definitely get blacklisted, but if you also have a crime, you're convicted of it, you plead guilty to it, you're not coming back in this country. But I could have looked at it that way. But you see, dropping the case would nullify my goal. It would totally nullify. I don't want him back in this country. And a lot of people don't either. I think I'm doing the country a service. I think I'm doing the Filipinos a service out here. I don't have any doubt about it. There's consequences with anything. I figure I'll take my chances with the other situation, but I'll try to remedy that the best I could. And whatever happens, it happens. Still going to get his ass out of the country. He's still going to have a court trial that's not going to stop. Nope, it will not stop. It still goes on as long as the lawyer's being paid. It goes on. And I already have a power of attorney for my girlfriend. She could represent me if I had to, which probably have no need to do it, but I got one anyway. I got a power. She has a power of attorney. Um, it's a good question. It's really my case against him, although um, when the fiscal accepted the case, it was technically the Republic of Philippines versus him, yeah. But being the complainant on this, it's kind of a, I don't know, double-edged sword. It's really both. You got a private complaint, and also he violated the RA code, Republican Act codes. It's kind of both, really. Yeah. So in a sense, it wouldn't matter if I was here or not. The case will go on, but the lawyer still has to be paid. Understand that? Yeah. So there's no easy way out of this for him. It really isn't when you think about it. And believe me, I thought about it a lot. Um, I mean, who wants to stress about their future? I don't. He doesn't, but you got to understand, you create your own situation and you got to live with it. You create it. Don't keep on pointing fingers. You did this to me. You did this to me. I get sick and tired of hearing that. I'll give you the same answer every single time. Said, no, you did it to yourself. And he did. There's no lying about that. That's fact. He's the one that kept on running his mouth and coming on live shows. He still is. He still is, and he's begging for money now. Now he's begging for money, and he tried to get his girlfriend. I don't know if she discontinued the channel, but trying to get her back online. It's all the same account. In other words, he's trying to double dip with, the system. He's trying to double dip. He's that desperate for fucking money. Where's all the supporters? Where's what's his millionaire boyfriend there, Brevis, the Bitcoin millionaire? Why hasn't he resolved all of his problems? He's so supportive of him. Brings him a fucking baseball bat. That was turned in. You know that was, right? You know that was. Yeah, you know. You know that was. Couldn't resist that one, man. Here, Brevis is supposedly trying to help him, but he brings him money, which is considered contraband in a way, and gives him a fucking baseball bat. Who's ever heard of anything like that? I know of people trying to slip files in a piece of cake or something to a detainee or something, or I don't know, but this was so blatantly stupid, and to put it on camera, and it's supposedly coming from Brevis, a supposed educated guy that went to what was it, Berkeley or something like that. Not that that's the best school in the system, but you would think even Berkeley, you'd have the common sense not to put yourself on camera and give an inmate a fucking weapon or something that could potentially be used as a weapon. What happened with this brainchild from Berkeley? God damn. Some of the shit I witness on here is so incredible that you'd almost think that it was like some fucking comedy skit or something. It's so fucking incredibly stupid what people do on here. I don't know. If I ruled the world, every day would be the first day of spring. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. You gotta understand, humans are greedy people. They're self-supportive. They don't care about anybody else. They're all cattle. Remember that. Every one of you all, no offense, you're all cattle. And you will follow the other cattle. You even follow them over a cliff. That's the basic makeup of humans. Follow the leader. Whether they're doing something right or wrong, or whether they're doing something smart or stupid, they follow the leader. And when somebody says something on the internet, it must be true. It was on the internet after all. All these naive, gullible people that believe that everything on the internet is true. Like all these stories about top actors and musicians dying when they didn't die. It was simple greed. They wanted to get viewers. They wanted a clickbait title to get everybody to come to their channel so they could get millions of subscribers or viewers. Everything's about money. Everything. Why do you think all these vloggers are on almost every fucking day? Well, the Brits, the British invasion we have on here now. With the British invasion, I call it. Forget the Beatles. We got a new British invasion. They're all on here to make money. There has to be something in it for them. It has to be money. It's all about money, YouTube. I'm probably one of the few people that put shows on here that's not involved with money. I come on here and say what I want to say. I get no benefits from it at all. Zero. I'm a rare case, but, that's the whole consensus of why anybody wants to put a show on. They do it any way they can. You want to get a good-looking woman on you to attract men to the channel. That's very easy to do. You want to go on interviews with other people that are popular, like Tim K did, and and Paul did, and everybody that Paul has introduced on his show now has thousands and thousands of subscribers. It's kind of a pyramid thing. That's how they grow their channels. But the question is, what if this platform of social media no longer existed? Number one, what would they do with their lives? Number two, if they're living on subsistent living, how would they make it? And it was so dependent on their revenue from YouTube. Look at Philippines antics. They're not rolling in money, but they're trying to get involved in every format they can, creating double channels. George has a job on the side, probably just to pay for her medications. She doesn't leave the house at all. She's afraid of falling. She rarely goes out. And all she does is shows talking gossip about everybody on here. Then you think to yourself and says, well, she probably has a short life because of the lupus and everything else that's going on with her. Wouldn't you rather be counting your blessings and maybe doing something? I don't care. Find a beach somewhere. Go to the beach. Something other than making a show and gossiping about what everybody else is doing, which is commonplace on here. MLG says, isn't it? Okay, read that already. Okay, that's definitely keep it under an hour here on here. That's enough. I got to shower and do a few things. I gotta find a pump actually. I got this cheap little bicycle pump, and I can't even get any pressure in my my pressure tank for the water system. So I'm getting not a very good flow of water without this the big boy, the big Grand Poobah pump. There's no pressure in there, lost pressure, so it starts switching onto a position that allows the motor to run. And I tried pumping this little thing, and it just doesn't. It just doesn't. I looked online, and all they got is these things you plug into the cigarette lighter and all that shit. That ain't gonna be possible. I gotta find something that'll work with AC and all that, or at least a better bicycle pump somewhere. I'm not gonna sit there and get a heart attack. Trying to pump up this pressure tank. Otherwise, I just have to wind up buying a new tank. The engine, the motor on there is fine. But we got very little water pressure here. And if I don't got water pressure, I can't operate my hot water heater in the shower. And I have to take a cold water shower, which is not something to my likes, to be quite honest with you. Other than that, status quo. Everything's status quo. It is what it is. It'll be whatever it's going to be. And I'm sure things are going to get more interesting as time goes by. I'm looking forward to March on the next court hearing. Very much looking forward to that. And we'll see what goes down. The boy's got a new lawyer now, so he claims. And he claims 200,000. Well, that somebody gave him 200,000 for a lawyer, which is a crock of shit because, to retain a lawyer out here, 40, 60, 80. It's around that amount, according to who the lawyer is at the firm. If they're part of a big firm, it might be more like 80. But individual private lawyers could be as low as 40, 50, or 60. 200,000? No. And no, I don't. I have not paid out. I've seen a comment in another show. No, I have not paid out 800,000 PHP in lawyer fees. No, I'm not that high. Not that high. Though it could drag out into such, but you know, it's not like a huge concern of mine. I just want to get the job done. That's all. My whole goal. I don't care how much money it costs, to be honest with you. I started something and now I got to finish it. You can't, midstream. You can't get off your horse midstream. You have to just go all the way. You started something. You want to finish something. You want a happy ending, as they say in the Philippines, a happy ending to all this. So you forge forward. And whatever happens, happens. It's not ultimately going to be up to me. That's up to the judge, Kiki. He can put in for it, yeah. It's up to the judge. But what's more important right now is a new motion to be filed to get other evidence in. That's the part I'm looking forward to. So I could actually introduce more current evidence, like his threats of murder to me and his inciting murder, which, by the way, again, talk about stupidity. Doing it online, doing it on his show, actually telling people, yeah, I'm inciting violence against you. I want to see you dead. I want to see a bullet in your head. And I want to incite other people, and maybe 50,000 pesos will get somebody out there, if somebody wants to pay that, to get him a bullet in his head. I've never witnessed such stupidity in my entire life. As I said, I've been around the block a few times. I've been here for a while. You know, I got trees. There's trees out there that are less than my age, but you know, it's look, you know, if trees could speak too, you know, boy, would they tell you. But I've never seen such a relentless, fruitless effort of futility in my life by somebody whose goal is to achieve some sort of freedom, to go on with their life. But he has done the exact opposite. Yeah. I didn't see nothing on there. Do you know he has a subscribers only type thing going on? And he wants something like 899, in other words, 900 pesos to. Okay. Uh, to join his membership for what? And like I said, where's the perks? Well, the perks is you get to hear my stupid statements. Well, we can hear that for free. No, I don't know. If he did something at 2 a.m., I didn't see it there anyway. He probably took it down right away. Yeah. Um, can't sleep. I wonder why you can't sleep. You're having sleeping problems now, huh? Too much on your mind, boy. Son. Yeah. Well, I slept like a baby last night. And I didn't even take certain meds either. I took melatonin. Melatonin, 3 milligrams. Melatonin gets your sleep cycle back. You know, Stella got her groove back, you know. I got to get my groove back with sleeping. You know what I'm saying? Kiki says, fair enough. I think you deserve more than just legal. Well, yes, of course. Of course. And, you know, they're actually in his original document, the original lawyer's document, there was actually, it wasn't just bail at 50,000, or really approximately 48,000 per charge, but there was actually monetary, he wrote it up. I didn't even ask for that. There was actually some, what do you call, what's the word? It's damages. Okay. That was actually, if I don't have the paperwork in front of me, but there actually was, and initially there was. Yeah, I just so I deserve more than legal fees. And as I said, this was never about fucking money. It wasn't about money at all. That was the last thing in my mind because I knew he doesn't have any money. I wouldn't put something in for money knowing that somebody has to depend on his girlfriend to eat and lies about having a social security. Man, that's the one that constantly just gets everybody. Yeah, come on. Oh, he's going to work downstairs and run around and, you know, have some weights, but he orders a fucking hot dog and fries yesterday. Oh, that's healthy. Cholesterol, fat, fries. He wants to lose weight because he realized that he's puffed up like a puffer fish now. And he realized that's going to affect his overall health and ability to beat my ass up. He might not be able to pick up that baseball bat that Brevis get him. This is so fucking funny. You wouldn't even think it's real. Brevis comes in there. I got some gifts for you. Takes out a fucking baseball bat in case you have trouble with anybody. This is supposed to be a college grad. I think he dropped out, though. I don't think he graduated, Brevis. But he went to college. Where's all his knowledge? Where's his wisdom? Where's his wisdom? To go in there on camera and give contraband, which is money. I don't think they just allow people to give you money at the side. I don't think so. But to make it even better, he gives them a junior baseball bat, perfect sized, to stuff into your back shorts, pull out, to hide somewhere. A weapon. Let's call it what it is. It's a weapon. How stupid can Brevis be? Well, if he's actually supporting Barry morally or anything, it's just for attention, we know that, but the whole facade, he's making a total ass of himself. Complete ass of himself. And why would he want to represent anybody of this guy's caliber? That's another question. Unless he is of the same caliber. And we also know there are some checkered things in this guy's past. Why he fled California, but we won't go into that. I think that was touched upon. Okay, guys, we're about the hour level. Time to get off. You could listen to Popeye's simulcast or whatever. Or whatever. Kiki says Brevis is another loser. The entire community knows that. No one believes his lies. That's why they get along, him and the inmate. That's why they get along. Birds of a feather type of situation. In a sense, they have the same mentality. Criminal type minds, they tend to flock together. I don't know what they both intend to achieve from all this. I really don't know. It just may not turn out the way they want it. And if it doesn't, what then? Yeah. Anyway, life goes on. My life needs to go on. I need to get off this thing. I got a shower in my cold water. I already had a healthy breakfast already. I certainly did. And I'm not eating no hamburgers. I'm not eating any more fries. Very limited now. The only fries I will have will be in the electric, cooker. No oils. And even so, it gets kind of blotted with a paper towel for any grease that might be on there. The air fryer is what I'm referring to, actually. I'm doing things the proper way. But if you're going to lose weight, you're not going to be ordering highly concentrated with fat and cholesterol hot dogs, and not to mention the bread, carbohydrates, and the carbohydrates and grease on the French fries. What a good direction. Keep it up, man. Keep it up. And you really think his girlfriend has that kind of money to go buy his grab stuff that he orders? Where's the money coming from, Einstein's? Where is the money coming from? A little bird flew it in? Somebody's paying that. He is. There's no YouTuber that's giving him money every day. His girlfriend cannot afford in any form or way to buy his meals every day. How could she do that? She's running a little business. She has to survive too. So logically, he's obviously getting his Social Security disability, which, by the way, will be in question by Social Security. I think they still think that he's in America because he has an account there. And that's why he's still getting it. But we'll take care of that situation. Viking Son, every time I'm going to get off, somebody makes a comment here. They are both worth each other. Two sad creatures. No comment to that. But I think they are a deserving couple. I would have to agree with you. Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. They're a deserving couple. They should be married. They're a team. Like the Borax team. 12 mules Borax team, 20 mule Borax team. Yeah, some people are meant to be together. Some people are. Train wrecks tend to That's what a train wreck is. It crashes against something. I mean, the waves crash against the shores, right? I don't know. Whatever. Whatever. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Uh, God. Unfucking believable. In fact, epic. Epic shit.